Have you ever imagined being surrounded by hungry, ferocious lions with nowhere to escape? What if you were thrown into their den as punishment? Would you survive? Would your faith hold strong? Or would fear consume you? Get ready to dive deep into one of the most astonishing and inspiring stories in the Bible, Daniel's survival in the lion's den. This tale of courage, faith, and divine intervention will leave you in awe and inspire you to trust in a higher power in times of adversity. How did Daniel face this deadly challenge and come out unscathed? Stay with us and find out the incredible story of Daniel's survival in the lion's den. The story of Daniel in the lion's den is one of the most inspiring and challenging narratives in the Old Testament. It is found in the book of Daniel, chapter 6, and reveals the unwavering faith of a man in the face of persecution and imminent danger. Historical context. Daniel was a man of great wisdom and integrity who served in the Medo-Persian Empire under the reign of King Darius. His reputation and dedication to God generated envy among the high officials of the kingdom, who sought a way to destroy him. Daniel held a prominent position in the administration of the empire, and his honesty and efficiency aroused jealousy among the other leaders. Daniel and his companions were taken captive to Babylon at a young age, and since then, they had shown themselves to be faithful to God, refusing to defile themselves with pagan customs. Even in foreign lands, Daniel stood out for his wisdom, discernment, and faithfulness. At that time, empires had a rigid hierarchical structure, and any threat to royal authority was dealt with severely. Daniel's opponents knew that the only way to harm him would be by attacking his faith, as he was blameless in his political and administrative duties. Daniel's devotion to God was non-negotiable, and his obedience to divine law was public and constant. The conspiracy against Daniel. The conspirators, knowing that Daniel was faithful to God, convinced King Darius to issue a decree that prohibited anyone from praying to any god or man, except the king, for 30 days. The penalty for disobedience would be to be thrown into the lion's den. This decree was strategically designed to target Daniel, as his faithfulness to God was well known to all. Daniel, however, maintained his prayer routine, kneeling 3 times a day towards Jerusalem. He was not intimidated by the new law, trusting fully in God and showing courage in the face of persecution. The conspirators closely observed Daniel and, upon finding him praying, immediately reported it to the king, demanding that the sentence be carried out. King Darius realized that he had been manipulated, but it was too late to reverse his decision. The arrest and condemnation. Caught in prayer, Daniel was immediately taken to the king. Darius, who greatly respected Daniel, was distressed but had no choice but to enforce the irrevocable law he himself had signed. The laws of the Medes and Persians were known for their inflexibility, making it impossible for the king to revoke the decree. Thus, Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, a certain death sentence in human eyes. The king, however, expressed hope by saying, "Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you." Daniel 6 verse 16. Darius spent the night without sleeping, worried about Daniel's fate. His trust in Daniel was undeniable, but his knowledge of God's power was about to be expanded. Hello, please check if you are already subscribed to our channel. Leave your like and comment your opinion about this miracle, the divine miracle. Throughout the night, the lions did not touch Daniel. God sent an angel to shut the mouths of the lions, protecting his faithful servant. At dawn, King Darius ran to the den and, with great joy, discovered that Daniel was unharmed. "My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also before you, O king, I have done no wrong." Daniel 6 verse 22. This miracle demonstrated not only God's power but also the reward for Daniel's faithfulness. He was protected because he fully trusted in divine providence. This event strengthened King Darius's faith and profoundly impacted the empire. God's justice. In response to the miracle, the king ordered that Daniel's accusers be thrown into the same den, and the lions immediately devoured them. Darius then issued a decree throughout the empire declaring that everyone should fear Daniel's God, for he is the living and eternal God. This event brought recognition to the God of Israel within a pagan empire and served as a powerful testimony of divine sovereignty over human kingdoms. God's justice prevailed, and Daniel's enemies were punished according to their own evil plans. Lessons from Daniel's story. The story of Daniel in the lion's den brings several valuable lessons. 1. Unshakable faith. Daniel maintained his faith even in the face of a death threat. 2. Integrity. He remained faithful to his principles and his relationship with God. 3. Divine protection. God is able to deliver those who trust in him. 4. Impactful testimony. Daniel's faith led a pagan king to recognize God's sovereignty. 5. Perseverance. Daniel's faithfulness teaches us to persevere even in the most intense adversities. 6. The importance of prayer. Daniel never gave up his communication with God, regardless of the consequences. Relevance for today's world. Just as Daniel faced challenges in his time, Christians today also face persecution, social pressures, and moral dilemmas. Daniel's story encourages us to remain firm in faith, trusting that God is sovereign and capable of protecting us even in the most difficult situations. Today, we face challenges such as maintaining our faith in an increasingly secular world, resisting the temptations of power and corruption, and trusting God even when circumstances seem impossible. Daniel is an example of how we should remain faithful and pray constantly, regardless of external pressures. We must trust that God has a plan for our lives and that he will never abandon us. Conclusion. Daniel's survival in the lion's den is a powerful demonstration of God's power and faithfulness. This story continues to inspire people around the world to trust God in the face of adversity, for he is faithful to save those who serve him wholeheartedly. Therefore, like Daniel, let us be firm in faith, persistent in prayer, and confident in divine providence. We should never fear challenges, for God is our refuge and strength. Did you like this story? Share it with your friends and inspire them to trust God regardless of the circumstances.